Hi there, my name is Lauren LoGrasso. You're watching the concert experience on AFTERBUZZ TV, and I am here with an amazing young songwriter, Diana DeMuth. Muth, that's it. And we're going to find out a whole lot more than just how to pronounce her name in just a few seconds.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. Diana, here's the song. We are matching. We're here. We're
all
live.
wearing black.
Yes.
It's a good day for black.
Even her beautiful manager, Mick Rossi, famous manager, on the couch. He doesn't want to be on camera, but he is here, so let his presence be known. I'm here with the lovely Diana DeMuth. DeMuth.
Right.
It's very difficult for me, but it's not going to be difficult for you because she's going to be a big thing. Listen to this voice. Didn't know. Oh, he just turned it up. You have such depth to your voice.
Thank you.
Now,
I appreciate that.
have you trained a lot as a singer?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken voice lessons pretty much my whole life, and I've been singing ever since I can remember. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I do definitely have that lower tone kind of thing going on.
Yeah, but you also have an upper register that's seamless. So how did you achieve that? Because for me, I was a belter, quote unquote, when I was little. Started in musical theater.
Right.
And then I started to develop my head voice, but that's hard, and it seems so natural for you.
You know, I failed a lot at it, and then I got better. Just practice, a lot of sitting in my room screaming, you know.
That's how you get there?
Exactly.
Like sirens or actual screams?
No sirens, not really screaming, that would be
That's
bad. But yeah, honestly, trial and error. I just have always sang, it's always been something that I've done, and I think it just naturally got better over time.
And when did you start writing? How old were you when that was?
I was 12 years old when I started writing. I wrote my first song, and it was, you know, total crap, as they are, first songs usually. But I kept writing, and it was always something that was very intuitive for me, and something I've always loved to do, you know.
Do you remember your first song?
Yes. I went home recently, actually, and I found it. I went back to Boston, and I'd written it down on a piece of paper and saved it, and I found it in my room, actually. Yeah, I was 12 years old, and I read it, and it was...
Do you think you could do a little rendition of it for
Oh my
us?
God, absolutely not. You don't want to hear that, I promise. I've grown a lot since then.
Well, you know what? Those are funny and fun to look back on. Do you ever go back and like look at your old diaries and you're like, oh my God, were you very dramatic as a child?
I was so angsty. I was the angstiest kid ever.
Why do you think that was? Do you think that's the
Creative
reason you're an
soul.
artist? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was total angsty, and I was just like, but I always loved to write, and I think, you know, when I listened to a couple old recordings that I found on my computer when I was home also that my mom has stored away, and they're just like hilarious, you know, it was so bad at that time, but that's, you know, how everyone starts. You just have to kind of be bad at it first and slowly get better, and yeah.
That's the thing, too, that I think a lot of people forget as they get older.
Right.
When you start something new, you kind of have to commit to the art of being bad at something for a while before you can be a pro. Because they say it takes 10,000 hours.
It definitely takes
So
10,000
it seems
hours.
like you've put in that time.
Yes, I definitely have. I mean, I have to say now I'm such a perfectionist that sometimes it gets in the way a little bit.
Really?
The good thing about being young and doing it is you don't really have anything to compare it to because you haven't been doing it for very long. Mm-hmm. But now I know what my best song is, so I'm always like trying to write a better song each time. Exactly, yeah.
Right. And what is your writing process like? Do you have a standard thing you do, or is it kind of just however it flows?
It's kind of however it flows. Usually I'll start with something on the guitar, and then, but I have days where I'll be, you know, driving or doing the dishes or something, and something will pop in my head, and I go and write based off that. So it kind of goes a little bit differently each time, to be honest with you.
What is the most quirky or weird idea you've ever had that's turned into something that you've loved?
That's an interesting question. Quirky or weird? I actually, you know, this is kind of weird. When I want to say maybe 18, I was at a church service with my parents, and I heard this organ line that they were playing, and I really liked it, and for whatever reason, it stuck with me. And like, I want to say a couple months later, I actually ended up writing something kind of based off that line.
That's
a
so
little
cool.
bizarre. Yeah.
No, but that's really cool. And I love how those things transpire. Like something that didn't make sense to you at the time, maybe you just felt inspired by it, but it stuck in you and it went in your DNA somehow, and it comes out later. And I think that's what's so cool about music.
I know. It's always different. I mean, that especially was like a super weird experience, and it just, for whatever reason, it just inspired me and stayed with me, and I used it later on.
Have you have you ever like dreamt a song and then written it? Has that ever happened to you? In some way, like maybe not the whole thing, but a line from it or something that happened in your dreams?
Actually, yes, I think. What tends to happen more is sometimes I'll hear them after I've written them in my dreams. But I think that's probably happened before. I'm just hearing music all the time in my head, whatever it is. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's like a symphony up there.
Exactly.
So you were raised in the Boston area, is that correct?
Yeah, Concord, Massachusetts.
Concord, Massachusetts. And did you play out there for a while before you transitioned to coming out to LA?
Yeah, so I grew up there, and I went to college when I was 18 in Oregon, and I left shortly after, just because I wanted to pursue this full time. So
Good for you.
I went back to Boston, made an album, toured it around, and then I moved out to LA after.
So did any part of you think about going to Berkeley, or was that kind of...
It's been a big conversation in my family, yeah.
Really?
Yes, however, I never felt like studying music was the right thing for me to do. I was always kind of, like I said before, intuitive, but actually sitting down and studying theory and stuff, it just never really interested me that much. And you have to be interested in that kind of, study of music in order to go somewhere like Berkeley. So it didn't feel like the right fit, though, it was talked about.
How did you get the courage, though? So you did go to college. You went out to Oregon. How did you get the courage and the chutzpah to leave and do something that wasn't a plotted out path?
I was the worst student. I
Really?
mean, when I got... high school, I was fine. Middle school, everything before that was fine. When I got to college, I did not care at all. And I scared myself a little bit because I was like, oh my God, I really just don't care. So I sat in class and I was so bored all the time. And it like... I left my third semester, so sophomore year, kind of right in the middle, I left. And I don't know, it just felt so much like there was something else that I needed to be doing. And it became very clear to me throughout, that year and a half at college that, everyone was kind of figuring out what they wanted to do. And I knew what I wanted to do.
You're like, why am I here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in a way, my parents obviously wanted me to get an education. It's very important. But there was just this thing that was pulling me away all the time. And I would always go back and write, after class and stuff. And it was just, it was kind of where my heart's always been.
Well, and the thing is, too, this is what no one tells you, but college is always going to be there, you know?
Yes.
So I'm glad for you that you made that choice, especially while you're young, because, like, I think it's kind of cool when older people, not, like, super old, but, even older people go back and get their degrees. Like, that's fun. And if you do it then, you'll know you really want to do it. Right. So... Seems like you made the right choice.
I think I did. A lot has happened since then, which is great.
So who out there are you inspired by? Do you have influences that you think come out in your music or that have even inspired you to write?
Yes. Growing up, I listened. My first concert, I think I was about 2 years old. My parents took me, maybe a little bit older than that. My parents took me to a James Taylor concert. So growing up, I listened to James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt, Joni Mitchell, Dylan, that kind of a thing. And more currently, I listen to pretty much everything and a bunch of singer-songwriter stuff, very similar to what I do now. An artist named Brandi Carlile, whose concert I went to just at the Bowl on Saturday, and she was amazing. I mean, that's the kind of career I would love to have.
Yeah. See, now here's the thing. I bet you a lot of people, when you tell them that you're a singer-songwriter, think, "Oh, you want to be this pop star." So how do you explain to the layman what your actual ambition is, that you want to be a musician who makes a difference and who's known and respected for what they do, but you don't want to be this huge, like, hello, here I am, because I guess this is what pop stars do now.
Right. I mean, I think they're kind of two different careers. I mean, being a musician can sometimes be very different than being a pop star. If you're in the entertainment industry, that takes a certain skill set that I completely do not have to get up on stage and sing, and dance around. And it's just not what I like to do. So when I say I want to be a musician, it means I want to play music, And I think, I don't begrudge anyone. I think if you want to be a pop star, that's great. And I think it's a super cool thing to do. Different skill set. And that's just where my head's at, is not into kind of fame or anything. It's just getting better all the time. And that's kind of where I try to sit. And that's kind of, that's how I explain it to people, is just the music and just keep it in the music,
Well, you'll always be successful if that's your goal, because Kaizen, that's what they call it. The Japanese call it continuous improvement. And if you have that as your main objective, then you will always succeed, because you're putting in your heart and you're putting in your time. And do you look at songwriting, like, do you take it very seriously? Do you do that every day? Is it like a job for you?
Yes.
See?
I'm looking over at my manager because he knows how much I do it.
See, that's what it takes, though.
Yeah.
You do have to look at it like it's your job, because it is, and it will be more and more as each day passes.
I think the thing about it is it's easy to coast sometimes in this kind of a career. And the thing, I constantly have to remind myself to keep writing and keep getting better and not sit on what I've just done. Because you're the only person, no one's really pushing you. It's not a 9 to 5, you know.
No.
It's kind of a 24-hour job if you make it that way. And it's important to me to always be improving. And I try my very best to, you know, just, even if it's for an hour a day, just to write, just to get it out. So eventually something comes.
Yeah, that's very important, and it's so great that you're looking at it like that now.
Yep.
Have you had any experiences, because the music industry is notorious for its sometimes compromising situations, we'll put it that way.
Sure.
Have you had any experiences where you've been tempted to be in the wrong crowds since you've been out here?
No, I actually haven't. I think I've steered through this pretty seamlessly, and I've also been very lucky. I've fallen in with a lot of the right people, and I've, you know, I was talking to my friend about this the other day. When I first moved here, I've only been out here for about 9 months. When I first moved here, I just went to every open mic night that I possibly could, and I met people that way. And through that, and it's a great community. You know, the musician community out here is great, and there's so many really talented people. So no, I feel like I've done, you know, a good job of just getting to know the right people and moving forward that way.
What was your favorite open mic you did?
Favorite open mic? Oh my God, there's so many. I played at this place called Fox and Hounds in Studio City. I really like that one a lot.
What's cool about that one?
It's just kind of, it's so chill. That's what I love. And you know, it's a bar, and it's just kind of a hang. And there's the same people there every time that just come to watch. And that kind of a community is a really great thing. Even if you're not playing, just people come to watch because they support you. That's one of the things I really like about it over there.
Yeah. The open mics are great. I started doing those too when I first moved out here, and it was like, it's a great way to build your community and to build your confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
And you start building shows off of them, like that you start
Correct.
booking. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this all-female band. I'm
I
obsessed with
do.
you.
I do.
How did this idea come about, and what do you hope to do with it, if anything? Is there a deeper meaning to it for you?
For sure. You know, we basically sought out the best female musicians in LA. We saw a lot of people, and these girls that I play with now, there was just this energy when I saw them play and when we first played together that was just, you know, it was incredible. And everyone having kind of a similar idea of the creative process and really enjoying the music. And I think that there's not a lot of all-girl bands out there right now that are really talented. And these girls are incredibly talented. And I mean that, you know, and it's been an honor to play with them. And the way it works, you know, I'll bring in the songs and they kind of expand upon them. And just, you know, I would really like to be out in the world with this band because I think the world needs more really strong female musicians.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw it, I mean, obviously when I knew that Mick was attached, and we actually share a producer too, so when I knew Jeff was attached, I was so into it. But when I heard you play and I heard the depth of your voice, and then I saw that you had an all-female band, I was like, oh, I have to talk to this girl.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a strong and bold move for someone who's as young as you are too. I feel like, you know, I just really respect it.
Yeah, they're great. They're great players, and they teach me new things all the time.
So you said that sometimes you'll bring them a song and they'll kind of like amp it up a little bit. When that happens, do you give them writing credit? How does that all work?
Generally, for this album, I wrote all the songs, so I take the writing credit for the songs. And they when it starts to sell, they get points on it. But if they contribute to the writing process, definitely, yeah, always sharing the writing credits. I believe in that.
And how did you go about meeting your manager?
I actually met my manager through Jeff. So
You
I knew
did?
Jeff first, yes.
Ah.
And when Jeff is a family friend, and when I met up with Jeff when I first came to LA, he talked about Mick, and he sent Mick over my stuff, and it all was just kind of meant to be. You know, he got it, and we've had a great working relationship since then. So
Yeah. It's really lucky when you work with people who are not only good people, but who understand you and want you to be the best you can be. And I know Jeff is that way, and from everything he's told me, Mick is that way too. So I'm happy that you, not just by luck, because of talent and because of who you are, also fell into that situation.
Yeah.
And you worked into that situation.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you made a EP, was it? Or was it a full-length album about a year ago?
It was a full-length album about a year ago. That was the one that I did back in Boston, and it was my first real recording process. And yeah, it was a great learning experience. I went in with an amazing producer back in Boston, and it was just kind of growing pains a little bit, you know, figuring it out when I got in there, just how the whole process worked. And it took a little longer than this one did, just because there was a big learning curve. And I didn't have all the songs when I started, so I kind of wrote as I went, which, you know, prolongs it a little bit. But, you know, it was necessary, because now going back in again to the studio, I knew what to do differently.
Were you still figuring out your sound at that time as well?
I think I'm always figuring out my sound. I don't even think that I have, you know, I think I'm figuring it out now, because I'll write a song that pulls me into a little bit of a different genre, and then I kind of go explore that genre. So I'm kind of, I kind of approach everything kind of like, okay, what can I do next that might be a little bit different?
So what do you do when that happens, though? Because then I do the same thing, and I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, do you just go with it, or do you try to edit it to bring it back to whatever you're doing?
I try as best I can not to self-edit while I'm writing. I'll do it after. But to be honest, I've never written anything that has been so far in another genre that I need to pull it back. No.
Well, teach me your skill.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I will. Maybe I'll come out with like a, you know, blues song or something like that soon. But
I'm sure you will if you write for someone else. You know,
Yeah,
do you
definitely.
want to do that? Is something you're interested in?
maybe, yeah. I haven't given it much thought at this point, just because I've been so involved in this process. But yeah, for sure, it would be something I'd be interested in. Yeah, I think it's a very cool thing.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
I mean, it's cool to have somebody take even a song that like you've written and maybe bring a different color to it, or bring a different depth to it that you might not have seen or heard.
For sure.
Yeah, might be fun. So now we've got this EP coming out.
We do. We're very excited about this one.
I am too. I've heard the song Doorway.
Yep.
It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
What would you say is the biggest difference between this first one you did about a year ago and this album you're putting out now?
This one, I thought through this one a lot more. There's an intent behind everything that I'm very clear about. And I think that comes through in the music. I was kind of experimenting with writing more so before when I wrote the first album. And this one I had more of an idea of kind of what I was trying to say. And I think that comes across.
So what are you trying to say?
Well, they're just, you know, they're about different life experiences. We got definitely a couple love songs. And what I like about The Doorway is that it's not, for a single, it's not a love song, which I think sometimes can be cool just to have kind of different subject matter. And
Or maybe it's a love song about something else in life.
You know, I was actually kind of, yeah, it kind of is. It's about my childhood.
I
It's
thought
kind of
so.
a nostalgic song. It's about my two best friends. So it is, yeah, in a way, it kind of is a love song.
It sounded like home to me.
That is what I was going for. So
Okay,
thank you. Yeah.
congratulations. You
Good.
succeeded.
We did it.
Yeah, I really liked it because I've been out here 5 years, very homesick, but it's something I think a lot of people can relate to because I think a lot of us are displaced in some way. And to hear that song kind of brought me back.
Yeah,
And said someone else understands.
Yeah, it's just about kind of changing and growing up in these, you know, very human things. And
Too human.
Too human.
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. And going home, it was actually something I wrote kind of partially in my head when I went home and I saw my friends for the first time in a while, my family, and it was just kind of this moment of, you know, realizing that I've gone out into the world and I've changed and coming back kind of through a new lens and seeing things that I grew up around.
What do they say about you being out here?
They're very supportive. Because it's just always been something that I've loved to do. It's never been a question, you know, and I think that my parents see that, and they're both artists as well. So they're
Are they
very
musicians?
No, they're photographers.
Oh, very cool.
My dad's a woodworker also.
Like Jesus.
Yeah, exactly like Jesus. He'll love that if he sees this.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I watched a hilarious video of your dad on Instagram.
Oh yeah, when he's
that-
with the doll.
What was that?
He was on vacation. It's the weirdest thing. He was on vacation and
Check out her Instagram, by the way, to see this awesome video of her dad.
he was on so he called me down one morning and he's like, I have to show you this video. And I was like, it's gonna be something of him like fly fishing, some 10-minute long super boring video. And I go and he shows me and he's standing on the back of a dolphin that's swimming through the ocean. And I was like,
that was just in the middle of the sea?
yeah. I was like, Dad, what the hell?
How did he meet the dolphin?
It was in some program, but I don't think that they expected him. You're supposed to hold on to the dolphin as it kind of, and just, you know, it'll pull you through the water. This guy is standing up and surfing on this dolphin. And I was like, Dad,
Your
you're
dad
like
did that?
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know, it was very bizarre.
Oh my gosh. I thought maybe he just found a really nice tide and was like
No.
letting it take him, but I didn't know that there was
creature of the sea.
a dolphin creature pushing him along. Okay, well, it's clearly a talented family, guys. So
Yeah, I guess so.
gotta
Different
stick with
talents in
them.
different areas.
That's amazing.
No.
So, are there any pre-show rituals you do? Any like superstitious things, or even like vocal
I'm so
warm-ups?
superstitious.
Really?
I really am.
Do
Yeah.
you throw holy water behind the stage, or like how do you do it?
I'm very weird. Like this is weird. I'll have 1.5 cups of coffee on show
Really?
days. No more, no less. I have no idea why. I think it's because one time I had a really good show, and I remembered that morning I had 1.5 cups of coffee, so I do it every time.
Well, you don't
I
want
can
to
help
dry out the cords too much.
it. Right, exactly.
Lubricate.
I love coffee though, so it's
Me
hard
too.
for me to stop.
It's my
there.
favorite drug.
I know. It's bad. But 1.5 cups of coffee always.
Okay.
I always have a little huddle with the band, whatever band I'm playing with before, and just kind of try to center ourselves. And I think that's important before, especially if it's a nucleus, just to have that energy between you, just to kind of all say something before, and yeah, stuff like that.
So do you try to be the leader in that way? Since you are the leader of the band, do you try to give people pep talks, or is it more just like a group experience?
I don't think they need my pep talks anymore. I'll probably try to say something inspiring, and they're like, okay, yeah, let's just go on stage.
I bet you they appreciate it more than they let on.
Maybe. It helps me. It helps me
Right.
more than it helps them. I'm just, I'm helping myself really by doing that. But I'll always say something. I think it's important too, just to kind of, good
Get
vibes.
together.
You need the vibes, yeah.
And I think it's more about getting everybody in the same world than it even is
Sure,
about anything
sure.
else. Just like sharing the energy and making sure you're all in the same place.
Exactly. And to be connected on stage, to have that moment before, I think is very important.
True. The moment before.
The moment before, I know.
Hashtag the moment before. Vocally, is there anything you do? Like, do you have any special singer tricks?
Singer tricks.
Like, do you drink hot honey water or anything like that? I don't know why that came out, but honey and water are things people like, so.
Yeah. Well, people do that,
Mm-hmm.
hot water and honey. I'll gargle water for some reason.
Just straight water?
straight water, and I'll go up and down the scales while I'm doing it.
While you're doing it?
Yeah.
I'm going to write that one down.
You should, actually. It's very helpful.
Okay.
It's really
that's something
cool.
I've never tried. I've done a million things,
You
but
should
I've
try
never
it.
tried that.
It's good. It gets your head voice engaged.
You ever tried turmeric? Liquid turmeric is really
Turmeric?
good. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Okay, well, apparently I just have
Turmeric.
issues with saying words. But turmeric, you try that,
Turmeric,
liquid
yeah.
turmeric and honey
Okay.
in warm water, gargle it, then drink. But I bet you if you did it with
Okay.
the scales, it would be on
Yeah,
a different level.
I know. You'd be like the best singer ever. After
Yeah,
that.
so I'll be doing that after the show.
Good.
And I hear from a little birdie that you may be doing a performance for us. So
I think I'll play you guys
is
a
that
song.
something you would be interested in?
I would love to.
Okay, well, let's do it, babe.
Let me get the guitar. Okay.
Let's
I'm
get
gonna
it.
take
Is
these
this
off.
from your EP?
It is.
Okay.
This one is called "Forgive Me."
Okay, well. So we're excited to hear Forgive Me. Is the EP called Doorway?
It's called "The Doorway."
The Doorway.
The Doorway.
Okay. All right, so about to hear this song. She's getting all ready to set up here.
Okay, we'll set it
Bringing
up.
her guitar on over.
I didn't have 1.5 cups of coffee this morning.
Oh my
so
gosh,
I don't know how
well.
this is gonna go.
I'm very nervous. No, I'm not. You're going to be amazing. I'm going to give
Thank
you
you
the
so
pep
much.
talk. You're going to be amazing.
I need
Got a
one.
beautiful, deep voice.
Thank
Let
you.
it shine. Sing from your soul. And turn the mic
Turn
toward
the mic
you,
towards me.
apparently.
Like,
Is that good? Okay. That was our engineer, Steven. Thank you, Steven. Here we go. Forgive me.
cool.
You are a simple-minded lover. You keep your cards close to your chest. Only call me when you're aching. Take my heart and leave the rest. I am at war with my emotions, always laughing as I cry. It's not like I love you, but darling, I can't say goodbye. Stop this pain, it's gonna take me down. I wanted your rain, but now it's the only sound. So forgive me now. I am a warm-hearted lover. I spread my cards across the floor. Oh, I got what I was after, so I can't warn you anymore. You are at war with your intentions, always saying that you tried. It's not like you love me, but darling, you won't say goodbye. Stop this pain, it's gonna take me long. I wanted your rain, but now it's the only song. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me now. Please believe I tried to live this out. Hold me up to the light, you stay on the ground. I want it back, all I gave. So let me go and let me hold you. Free this love or give it life. There are times I can't believe it. You're laughing as I cry. Said it's not like you love me, but darling, you won't say goodbye. Stop this pain, it's gonna take me down. I wanted your rain, but now it's the only sound. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me now.
I like the way you ended that.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, she's
Let me throw this
gonna
back.
throw her guitar back over there, and we're gonna discuss. We're gonna debrief. I was taking notes.
Okay, good. Oh God.
No, good things.
Okay.
Lyric analysis.
Oh, God.
I'm obsessed with lyrics.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
I've got so many questions.
Okay.
So, it's not like I love you, but darling, I can't say goodbye.
Yes,
Why do we so often stay in these relationships we know aren't right?
that's the question of the hour. I don't know. I think that people oftentimes get caught up in somebody else, and it's not necessarily love, but it's also like there's kind of an addiction about it.
What is that?
I have no idea. If I knew, I probably wouldn't have written the song.
Right.
That was written from a place of frustration, from a place of being in that place and just kind of not knowing what to do. It's kind of a plea, just like throwing my hands up, like, oh my God, I have no idea.
When you were with this person, did you express that to them?
Kind of.
Yeah?
I think kind of.
Is it still happening?
No, it's not.
Good for you. That's tough to get out of.
Yeah. I think, I try to keep, I don't oftentimes tell people when I write things about them for obvious reasons.
Definitely.
I mean,
Keep your cards close to your shirt. Is that what they say?
chest.
Chest, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what the song's about. Yeah, exactly.
You used a metaphor about cards, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
It happened twice.
There you go.
You caught it. I think I'm kind of writing about, in that scenario, being with somebody who's kind of quieter about how they feel. And in that relationship, I wasn't. So it felt like I was wanting more.
Right.
And so that song, I love playing that song just because it feels good to kind of just like, sometimes I feel like I'm yelling it or something. Just kind of like, stop this pain. Just kind of,
Right.
yeah.
So also, please believe I tried to live this out. I love that. Explain what you mean.
I think with that kind of a relationship really being, trying, if there's something there, you want to explore it. And oftentimes that's why you don't walk away from it, because it's so hard to walk away from. And that's kind of what I mean there. It's like, I tried to live this out, but it hurts too much, And that's what the lyric is.
And the other thing, when I said I love the way you ended it, I thought it was so interesting to take it down low, because so many artists think, oh, I got to end on a high note. To me, there was really a lot of power in the way you ended that with a lower register. Cool. Was that a conscious choice, or is it just kind of what came out?
I do it a little bit differently every time.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, to be honest, yeah, especially when I'm playing alone, I'll just kind of, however it feels like it should end. It does not always end like that. When I play it with the whole band, we do kind of a jam out at the end, and it kind of comes up a lot more.
Higher in register or just
Higher in register, but also energy.
volume?
It's just
Okay.
like really, getting to that place. I don't know, but when it's a solo performance, when it's acoustic, sometimes it feels like it's more personal to end it, kind of closing it off a little bit more, pulling it back, and that's just that's why I ended it like that.
I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
That was a really, really cool moment. Also, I want to ask you, are your thoughts on Fiona Apple? Have you ever listened to her?
I have. I really like Fiona Apple. I like her
I'd be
voice a lot.
interested to hear you cover one of her songs.
Actually, my music teacher in high school told me to cover a Fiona Apple song. I never have, but maybe I should.
You got to do it.
We'll do it.
She's got an amazing repertoire, and she is such an interesting songwriter. I mean, she literally, I've heard her interviewed, and she'll take old English words that aren't now in the lexicon, look them up, and write them in the song to reintroduce them to the language. That's her hope.
Interesting.
So she's such a thoughtful songwriter, and I think just with the way your voice is, it would really fall well in the way she writes.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do it.
Check it out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Find something that resonates with you. So for this album, did you tell me what is the thesis statement of this album? If you had to put one sentence about what it's about, what would you say?
I think it is, this is a weird sentence, but a nostalgic piece.
Okay.
Because everything on this EP is kind of about a memory, more so than, especially some of the songs like Albuquerque, I wrote kind of after the fact of what I was going through. And they're memory songs, they kind of, when I listen to them, they bring me back to that place, and they're kind of me at the time looking back on things. It's a nostalgic kind of piece, I think.
I like that. That's something a lot of people can relate to, is
Exactly.
looking back and saying, wow, if I knew then what I know now, things would be different.
It was kind of about, as you get older, I think you realize how your childhood affects you. And kind of what happened. Exactly, therapy.
It's great. Got to get in there.
Yeah, and I think that was a really big thing for me, is kind of realizing I was very fortunate. I had a great childhood, and I went through a lot. And I think as I've gotten older and gone out into the world, I've realized kind of what that meant, what growing up meant, what home meant. And that this was kind of me bridging that gap of adulthood, even though I'm kind of a kid still. And that, growing up period. And I think, people bridge that gap at different times, but I think this EP strongly is kind of that for me. And it was healing to write it, I think, in that way.
That's fantastic. Now, it sounds very honest, which is what
It's
people
very
are
honest.
dying for.
Yep.
We're dying for honesty and authenticity and people who will make you feel something, because this world is so muted right now. And it's so shut off, and it's so for audio-based listeners, I just tapped my finger as if it was an iPhone. But yeah, that's really wonderful that you write from that perspective and that you've allowed yourself to be vulnerable in that way. Okay, I have to ask you, I was watching some videos, what I could find of you online, and I saw that you did X Factor.
That I did. I did do the X Factor, yes.
Yeah. What was that experience like, and did you like doing it? Was it weird for you? I was always scared to do those reality shows because they seemed like they would take advantage of me in some way. Did you feel that way at all, or was it good?
I think that if you're a creative person, I think it's not the best choice. If you're a pop star, it's a great choice, because they're looking for a TV personality on those shows as well as a singer. And oftentimes, that the personality and entertainment piece becomes more important than the music. And so that's something that I didn't relate to.
And that's not you.
It is very much, I'm like the opposite
Your
of that.
voice is incredible, but you're so much more than your voice. You're your artistry too.
I think I auditioned on a whim, a layover in Denver. And
Really?
I got.
Oh my gosh.
I got through the preliminary auditions, and I just kept getting through auditions, and then it was kind of like you get sucked into that world a little bit,
right?
Because you're like, this is great, you just want to keep going because it's a bubble. It's very much reality TV is a total bubble. And so I was fortunate enough to sing for Simon Cowell and all of them, and they had some good feedback. I mean, it was actually a really, really good experience, and I was the most nervous I think I'll ever be in my entire life. I think I got it over with at 19, and I'll never be that. I remember standing, there was a guy singing before me who had the best voice I've ever heard, and I was like, why do I have to go after this guy? I'm like almost in tears backstage because this guy is so moving, and I look out, kind of peek out into the audience, and there's a couple thousand people, and you see Simon Cowell and Demi Lovato, and it's a very surreal moment. And I was young too, and it was just kind of, I don't even know how I sang the song. I was so nervous. I just went blank.
Oh, you were awesome, obviously.
Something went right, but it ended up not being the right fit. I'm not a cover singer. But it showed me that I can kind of go out and do it if you put your mind to it. And that's really what that experience was for me. It was a stepping stone to where I am now.
Well, that's huge. And it sounds like you took out the best parts of it and you left the parts that didn't serve you, and now you're going and, plotting out your own path, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and you recently had a show where you plotted out your own path at
Yes.
the Hotel Cafe. So tell me what that was like. Do you have any plans of future performances? What's going on there?
So yeah, we did. We had a Hotel Cafe show on July 7th, and I'd been waiting. We'd been in rehearsals a lot, so I've been waiting to play live, and it was so exciting. We packed the place, which was great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it was so, the energy was so good, and the band was great, and just kind of looking out and being able. It's so relieving to be able to bring these songs out to people, because this EP is not out yet, and so the only people that have heard these songs are my manager, in the band, really, and a couple close friends. So kind of to get that audience feedback was amazing, and it was an awesome experience. And so yeah, it looks like we're going to be doing another Hotel Cafe show at the end of September.
Awesome.
Around that time. And
do we have a date yet or no?
No, we're tossing around some dates, but I'd really like to get back on that stage because I love that place.
Where can people go to find out when that show will be?
DianaDeMuthMusic.com.
DeMuth.
DeMuth.
That's
I
right.
know. You're going to remember it now.
I'm going to
DeMuth.
now. Muth. And where can they find you on the social media platforms?
So
all of them.
My Instagram is Diana_DeMuth.
Okay.
Facebook is /Diana DeMuth Music. YouTube is /Diana DeMuth. So if you Google Diana DeMuth, it'll be there. It's all
right.
there.
Google her, folks. And we also have an amazing exclusive for the listeners and viewers.
About this.
So we're going to get to see her music video and tell them a little bit about what inspired this video, what the song's all about, etc.
Like I said before, the song is really about my childhood, growing up. It's about my two best friends. And kind of, there's that nostalgia piece there. And the video, we really wanted to do something that was true to what we do as a band and what I do as a performer, which is play live. That's what we love to do. That's what we're really good at. So we did a live performance video. It's very simple. There's not a huge storyline or anything. And just kind of made it about the music. And we had an amazing director.
Jesse, right?
Jesse Davey, who is, I cannot sing his praises enough. He's phenomenal. And when I saw the video, I was speechless. He did such a good job. And it's very simple, but it's kind of beautiful in its simplicity. And that's what we wanted out of the first video. We wanted something that wasn't distracting and had too much going on and just really made it about the song, which it is.
Right. And it shows off who you are as a band.
Exactly.
So I feel like after watching this, I know what I'm going to get when I go to see you live, which is exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. It's true to what we do, and that's what I wanted it to be. It's just a true representation, because I don't like when you see something and then the artist sounds completely different in person or something like that. So I think this is a very good example of what the band is like. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to delay it anymore. Thank you so much for listening and for what you're about to see. I'm excited for you. My name is Lauren LoGrasso. You can find me at Lauren LoGrasso. Diana, thank you for being with me today. It's been beautiful getting to talk with you.
Thanks so much.
Of course. And let's enjoy this music.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
I've made up my mind. There ain't no use in pretending that anything goes the way that it was expected. What's that song we were singing? Leaving the town. In my memory, it sounds so strange. The summer was long, we were flushed at our faces, throwing light away. And I'm all out of time, but I keep holding on. But don't that year feel like where we belong? Singing, oh, where'd the day go? You know I just wanna stay. The house was eroding, you stood in the doorway. Oh, mama, how I have changed. All of my regrets are stuck to the living room floor. I kneel down What's that song we were singing? Leaving the town in my memory. You seem so strange. The summer was long. We were flushed in our faces for the light away. And I'm all out of time, but I keep holding on. But don't that year feel like where we belong? Singing, oh, let the day go. You know I just wanna stay. The house was eroding. You stood in the doorway. Oh, mama, how I have changed. Let it roll. Oh, I am at ease in your arms. Let it roll. Oh, I can still hear you singing my song in the night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.